Everybody, welcome. Can you hear me? All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to Thrive. We're going to get started up here with a few things that need to be talked about to get this thing started right. So feel free to continue eating your dessert, going through the dessert line, and grabbing some coffee, stuff like that. But we're going to transition right now to thinking about the upcoming year together. First, though, I do need to give out some prizes to last week's winners. Last week at our fiesta, we were giving out these Mexican blankets. I purchased them myself in Old Town San Diego. And yeah, I just walked up to the street vendors right then and there, bought these bad boys. So these are the real deal. And there's a little gift certificate on there and a stuffed piñata. So, a very small stuffed piñata, but it is a stuffed piñata nonetheless, with a bow on the bun, okay? So, people who won the games last week, we have the Hansons. What did you guys win? I can't remember. The beads. Yeah, the beans. Transferring the beans. Yeah, give it up for the Hansons. Nice job. I will award you with
Thank you.
That one. Okay, then, I do not know how Emory Tabor did it, but we had the tortilla distance throwing competition, because that's just kind of a normal thing, is to throw tortillas, see how far you can chuck them. Well, we had guys do like the normal frisbee toss, and then we had a few people crumple it up and throw. Nice move, except, you saw the crumpled tortilla flew through the air and then parachuted and floated down. I don't know, Emory, what kind of sauce you put on that tortilla or what kind of what you did to pack that thing down, but when you launched that thing, it went over the hedge and onto Columbia. So nice work, my friend. Nice work. Okay, and then the Schusters won something. Emory was the only one that I actually saw. So I don't know what they won, the Schusters, but they won something. The girl tortilla toss. Okay, maybe I didn't see that. I thought I did. I don't know. Okay, so come on up. What did you do? Did you crumple yours or did you frisbee it? Crumple. Okay. Did it parachute? Well, we never gave rules for how to make the tortilla fly the distance. You made it fly the distance, so nice work. Yeah. Yep. A little piñata for the kid. Yeah, and register that kid. Yep. All right. So we've got a good night ahead of us now. Happy National Thrive Day, everybody. It's good to be back for the national holiday. If you're unfamiliar with National Thrive Day, it's a thing every Thursday. It's a national holiday. Back when Donald Trump was the president, I called him, and at least the video that we have produced will testify to such things happening. And he agreed that it should be a national holiday, so it is every Thursday. Happy National Thrive Day. It really is a good time when we get together, and so we're going to have a good night tonight. And then we've got a good plan for the whole semester. In fact, we've got series laid out for the whole semester. But a typical night is going to look and feel a lot like last year. Dinner starts 5:30. I think last year maybe we said 5:45. But because Awana starts so early, 6:15, it's going. If you want to get in the dinner line here as early as 5:30, that can give you time to get your kids through, get them fed, and get them over there. So dinner line opens up at 5:30, and then from 5:30 all the way up until 6:15, it's feeding frenzy, okay? Then we want to shoo all the children out and pull out the dessert bar. Speaking of the dessert bar, that's what happens from 6:15 until about 6:35, and we have high expectations for the dessert bar. And I just want to say that groups 1, 2, and 3, you did a good job, okay? Good job. So, and group 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, or did 1, 2, or 3 back out? Who didn't? 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, you are included. Good job. You guys have set the bar. You guys have established the minimum, at least, of what other groups need to meet or exceed in terms of quality of choices. So good job, you guys, and thank you. And that is something that we will all do together throughout the semester. So we got dinner, we got dessert. After that, we're going to be just sharing updates, good things that are happening in the various groups, and just kind of a little bit more testimonies this year. And that'll be a great way just to be encouraged by the good things that the Lord is doing on a regular basis here among us, and also a chance just to get to know people that maybe aren't in your group. We just have so many different groups here that you can go months without ever talking to certain people and never really knowing what's going on in their lives. And so we're going to try to open that up a little bit more by having more testimonies. And so I want to be hearing about the good things that are happening in your lives and in your groups during that testimony time. After that, we're going to have a teaching on a marriage-related subject. And so I'll teach for 20 minutes or so and try to get you out the door by 7-ish so that you can have a full hour for discussion in your small groups, okay? We have topics laid out for the year. Do we have a slide that shows those topics? Or maybe you've already seen that before, but we've got a series on communication, we've got a series on love, what that means, and a series on roles for husbands and wives. And it's a good plan for the year. I'm really excited about it, so buckle up for that. Oh, I do want to make a note about the dinner. So that costs money every time we buy food and feed everybody. And so we just want to make you aware that we would like it if you could make a donation to offset some of the cost for food, okay? So the suggested donation is $10 per family. The reality is it's more like $15 per family in our actual cost. So if everybody in Thrive paid $15 per family, then we would probably offset our costs. But if you could pay $10, that would be great. Maybe if you have a big family, pay $15. But there's a QR code. You could scan that. You could pay $10 for the night tonight, or you could actually just pay for the whole semester if you want to do that. So that would be helpful. I know some people are like, oh, well, we already give to the general giving, and that's great, but my budget that I'm responsible for doesn't know that you gave more to the general giving, and I spent a bunch of money on food. So if you channel some of that giving through this channel, this is in addition to what you give generally, okay? Then we can actually see how we're doing with the food costs and things like that, and that would be really helpful, okay? There's a QR code on your table as well. You can scan that there, but either way, try to offset some of our cost for dinners. You should have on your tables a piece of paper with questions on it. We're going to talk through week 1 questions today once I'm done teaching, and then we're going to talk through week 2 questions next week, but you have them now ahead of time. And I want to challenge you to work through those questions between now and next week. So this is kind of a new expectation here in Thrive. It's always been an expectation, but I want to stress it, that each week you prepare before you show up to Thrive. You sit down and have a conversation with your spouse, at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes. Talk through the questions, so that when you come to Thrive on Thursday night, you've already thought about the question for more than 2 seconds. Okay, the conversations are going to be a lot better if you think through some of these things ahead of time and then you show up with having thought about them, okay? So we're going to give you the questions each week on your way out the door for the following week. And so if you want more copies, you can grab more copies on your way out the door for next week. Does that make sense? Okay. If you're new to Thrive, we got a lot of new people. I want to invite you over to my house on Sunday night, September 11th. So I'll send you the address, but 5:30 to 7:30, we just do dinner at my house. There might be a lot of people and a lot of kids, but that's fine. It'll be kind of open house style. We've got a backyard space for kids and a trampoline where we can zip them all in there and then just walk away, Lots of toys, things like that. So if you're new to Thrive, you want to come to that, you're absolutely invited. That's going to be on Sunday night, September 11th. Details to follow. All right? Now, with that being said, I just want to introduce you to all the leaders. And so we're going to put their pictures up on the screen and introduce you to their names and their faces. And in order to help me do that, I want to have Garrett, my friend Garrett Cornish, come up and help me. So Garrett's one of the directors here in Thrive, and we want to introduce to you a fantastic team of leaders and mentors and ministry leaders that we've got here serving in Thrive.
These are them. So we're going to start with the Bears. Ian and Amy Bear.
Yep.
Stand up. We're going to embarrass you. No, don't just wave. We need you to stand up. Everyone in Thrive needs to see your beautiful faces.
Yeah, that's the Bears.
Ian and Amy Bear.
Veteran leaders, love them. Next.
All right, next we have the Radcliffes. Colin and Angela Radcliffe over here. Stand on up. And also the Seegers are their mentor couple. They're a little more seasoned in the Thrive game. So Ben and Megan are over here.
Actually, they're the longest standing members of Thrive. They were part of the original team.
Survivors right there.
Yeah, well.
All right, next, Diego and Maddie Morales. Straight in the back. Where are you guys?
Baby in her arms.
Rocking a baby, you know. That's always good. Matt and Tracy Winicky. Where are they at?
There they are.
Stand on up. This is becoming a competition for who can be the loudest right now.
We've known the Winnickeys for a long time. Actually, some of the first people we met when we came to Compass in 2011, and I work with Tracy at CBI. So great to have them on. Who else do we have?
Andre and Alice Damien.
Awesome.
Where are they over here? Clyde and Julie Shimabakuro are their mentor couples. Are they here?
Yeah.
They're not here. First night. All right, strike
yeah.
one. All right, then we have Eric and Jessica Hansen over here. Faithful leaders. Tori and Bianca Canavo down here. Okay. Dave and Holly Sherman are their mentor couple. And side note, speaking of dessert bar, because
tell me.
Y'all did fantastic.
Tell me, yeah.
Canavo's brought their own cake. They have a cake at their table, so these are great leaders. They have great people in their group, because that was a group member, so everyone's on notice.
That's
Y'all
how
need
you
to
do
bring cakes over.
If you're on dessert detail, you got to bring a dessert for the back table, but anyone could always supply me or their table with extra dessert.
Like the Godfather, just bringing you gifts. The Godfather of Thrive. Matt and Amy Bradley, where are you guys at? Not here.
Yeah.
Their table's right here. Jason and Nicole Mednicks. The Mednicks. Uh-oh. Matt and Jessica Murphy.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up with Matt and Jessica. We go way back.
Good people. Emery and Anita Tabor, right down here. Give them a shout. Josh and Carissa Compa in the back. New leaders for us. Adam and Angelina McDonald in the back there.
Oh, yeah.
We got some great people. Mike and Stephanie Hutov, right down here. And we also have Jay and Esther Lee down here, Group 15, with Mike and Vicky Zarati as their mentor couple over there on the left. Justin and Alyssa Sherman. That's right down here with all the kids. Gotta love them. John and Alexandra Fabarez in the corner. Shout out.
Oh, yeah. So those are all of our small group leaders. There's 17 groups, I believe, and so we've got just a great mix of different small groups, great leaders, some of the best leaders here at Compass Bible Church. I'm thankful for every single one of them. In addition to those small group leaders, we have a couple people who also serve in various ways. So we've got people who serve making sure the food happens, making sure the welcome happens, making sure the care happens. And so I think I saw pictures of them too, no? Yeah. So Mark and Kim Gerard, they run the care ministry, prayer and care. So anytime there's a prayer request, it's able to channel through them, and they're making sure that everybody in Thrive is cared for because we function like a family here and take care of each other. Also, we've got new to the team, Jay and Teresa Alderson. They're taking over the food situation, hospitality. So really thankful for them. I mean, we like the dessert bar, and we like the food a lot, okay? So these are important pieces, and they're making sure that it happens, and it's staffed every week, and they do a great job with that, so thank you guys. Helping with also with prayer and care, we've got the Fomenchenkos. They're gonna help us be writing cards and caring for people in ways that we really need to do a good job with that. So they're going to be helping out as well. Okay, is that it in terms of slides? I think so.
No, we have one more.
We do?
We have some stats.
Okay,
some
yeah.
Summer stats.
You dropped the stats,
for you guys. Man. All right. How many new couples do you guys think we have in Thrive? We got 34 new couples signed up over summer coming to Thrive. All right. Of those 34 couples, 11 of them are freshly married. We got 11 newlyweds, so you guys can impart all your wisdom. And of those new couples, 18 of them are new to the church. All right. So word is getting out. You guys did a great job telling your friends about Thrive and the church, so kudos to you. And baptisms. Last year, we had 11 people from Thrive baptized right here on stage, sharing their testimonies, getting saved. And last but not least, child dedications. We had 8 children dedicated to the Lord over this last year. So question, how many total dedications do you think happened? 20? 50? There were 11, and we were 8 of them. So go forth and multiply. Thrive takes that commandment very, very seriously. So great job, guys. But just want to fill you in what happened over the summer. We're back. We're excited. I'm going to pray for us, and then Pastor Mark's going to come on up and give you the sermon. So pray with me. Heavenly Father, God, we are so thankful for this ministry. We are so thankful for this church, and we are thankful that you are the head of this church and of this ministry, God. We look to you for all things, including how to live our lives in a godly manner, and also how to live out our roles in our marriages. So please help us to do that this year. Please be with Pastor Mark as he preaches this, and help our hearts and our minds to be open to you. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Thanks. All right. I want to make a case here that building things is hard. Building things is hard. To build something good takes a lot of work, okay? So there's a few factors that contribute to making building things hard, and I'm going to put those up on the screen. There's just a couple factors that make building things hard. Oftentimes, when you want to build something good, there are complex issues. It's not one simple step like assembling a snowman. You know, that's kind of easy. It's just like 3 things of snow, right? Typically, to build something good is going to require multiple steps and complex things working together effectively, one following the other. And furthermore, when you build something good, often there are problems you encounter along the way, things that go wrong that you have to make right in order to build the thing. You've got to problem solve, you've got to troubleshoot, you've got to make it right before you can move forward to the next step. Time, that's another factor that contributes to building things being a difficult challenge. I mean, building things takes time. And that's a cherished commodity. We always need more time to build what we need to build, right? And then other commitments come up. Oftentimes, it's a rare thing for us to just be able to focus on one task at a time, build one thing, and then move on to the next. We're always multitasking. There's always multiple responsibilities, multiple commitments, multiple factors you got to keep juggling at the same time. That's just generally speaking. I'll give you an example. Consider the last time, perhaps, that you assembled a children's toy. So your kid opens up a present, they're ecstatic, they bring it to you, I want to play with this, and then you see those dreadful, dreadful words, assembly required, okay? And you're like, oh no, you know? And you make the mistake of trying to assemble it right then and there. And so while your kid is normally a patient person, very patient, they happen to want you to assemble that thing right now. They want it to be done right now. So as you begin assembling that thing, they're pulling on you, they're asking, they're helping in any number of ways that they're contributing to the situation. Meanwhile, you're trying to follow the instructions. And, you know, they're printed in multiple languages, and there's multiple pages, and you're like, what is happening here? This doesn't make sense. Then you realize you skipped a step. So you have to go back, work on, go back and make it right. Then maybe a kid picks up one of the parts and they want to help put that part in. And so now they're walking around, except that part doesn't go in for 10 more steps. And so you're like, hold on, give me a second. And then you get to the 10th step and they've lost the part. So you don't have the part anymore. Now you've got to improvise without the part that they had, that they wanted to put in, that they couldn't because this was a complex thing. And so you improvise. Then the kid pees their pants while they're helping you, and you've got to go do a full clothes change in the middle of assembly time. And then you get back from assembling, and it's like, oh, we have to go to Thrive. So we're not going to finish assembling this right now. We'll pick it up tomorrow. And then you pick it up tomorrow, finish the assembly, and the thing doesn't work. So you have to start all over again, right? Just a hypothetical scenario, maybe all too real for some of us, but I think you can track with me when I say building things is hard. And you know what? That's building something that was literally designed and manufactured to be assembled really easily by a non-expert builder, right? Think about the challenges you face at work. Think about the things you need to build that are not laid out for you. Here's step 1, here's step 2, here's step 3, here's step 4, or a really big and complex building like building a house. All the different subcontractors, all the different timing, the schedules, the details, the materials, and putting all the pieces together at just the right timetable, solving the problems that come up, troubleshooting, all that. Building is hard. Some things don't have the blueprints. Okay, talk about starting a business, building a business from scratch, building something from scratch where you don't have the roadmap. It's just not going to be instant. Building things takes time and it's hard, and there's a lot of factors that work against you. And we have a lot of different professionals in the room who do a lot of different things, and everybody could testify to the challenges that they face to build the things that they need to build, right? So why would we think that building a good marriage is any different? Wouldn't it be a problem if we thought, well, I'm just going to have a great marriage? Because why wouldn't I? I'll tell you why you wouldn't. Because building things is hard. And building a good marriage is also hard. And so I often say here in Thrive that a good marriage is at the top of a hill. You're not just going to stumble into it. You're not just going to accidentally have one. If you're going to have one, it's going to be the result of work and progress, growth, time, effort, energy, blood, sweat, and tears. Because building things is hard. Think about how hard it is to build a good marriage. Just looking at our limited factors that I've identified here. You've got complex issues in a marriage, do you not? Complex issues. If you just take even just one issue like communication, think about all the factors that need to work together for you to have good communication with your spouse. Even just the nonverbal piece of it, the way you look when you say what you say, that's important. That's got to be there. The timing, the tone, the eye contact, it's all got to be just right. You've got to be able to listen. You've got to be able to work together to talk. You've got to have patience. You've got to have forgiveness. You've got to have transparency and honesty, and all these things just got to work together just for one little piece of your marriage to work right, to work well, to be good, to grow. Think about the problems, because you're going to have those. There's going to be problems. You put two sinful people in the same house together, there's going to be lots of friction, lots of issues, lots of problems that you've got to work through, you got to solve. Arguments, disagreements, misunderstandings. Then there's like the external factors, the external problems. Someone gets sick, there's a trial, there's an issue at work, there's a problem, there's a family drama, just even issues in our world, all that stuff. Time, I mean, it's probably, for you, always a battle of time, man. When are we going to spend time with each other? And I think we've got a lot of people who could testify here that the longer you're married, the older you get, the older your kids get, the fuller the schedule gets, and less time you seem to have with each other. The harder it is and more cherished that time becomes. other commitments. I mean, being married isn't the only responsibility you have, I don't think. You got other stuff you got to do too. And that's taxing. You got to go to work. You got to sleep sometimes. You got to do the stuff that's on your list, right? You got to make it happen. So building a good marriage, we just can't expect for it to be easy. In fact, I think it's problematic if we don't think about the challenges that are at odds against us, not to mention the opposition that you're going to experience from a spiritual perspective of having a good and godly marriage. There's an accuser in the world who prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour, who doesn't want you to have a good and godly marriage. And Satan's going to do everything he can to prevent this from happening. There's a lot of reasons they're going to work against you growing in the ways that God wants you to grow, being the husband or the wife that God wants you to be. Because building good things is hard. And so I want to challenge you and myself here tonight to resolve to work hard at building a thriving marriage. So take me to that slide. The next one, please. Resolve to build a thriving marriage. I'm going to spend the rest of our time, just a few more minutes, talking about this, challenging you to build and work to build a good marriage. And so just a couple questions here. Why should you work on this? There's a lot of things for you to work on, a lot of different things vying for your attention. Why should you take the time to work on having a better marriage? Is that like an extra thing? Is that a luxury? Is that kind of a non-essential? Where does that fall on the list? I think it's pretty high on the list. You ought to develop a good marriage, and I'm going to give you some biblical reasons for why. I think the Bible teaches that marriage is a big part of God's plan. Show the verse, please. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. So God creates the heavens and the earth. He creates the world. He fills the world with light, the day, with plants, vegetation, creeping things that creep on the earth, animals, birds, sea creatures. And last of all, he creates man. He creates people, human beings. And so we have in Genesis chapter 1:26, then God said, the last day of creation, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heaven and over the livestock and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. And so as the pinnacle of God's creation, as the centerpiece of the table of God's creation, he puts man and woman on planet Earth to have dominion over the world, to rule on his behalf as his image bearers on planet Earth, to have dominion over the things he created in creation. And he created human beings as a centerpiece to do this, and he happened to create human beings as man and woman. So here you have this focal point of creation, human beings, who happen to be two genders, two sexes that he says belong together. So God created man in his own image, in the image of God he created them, male and female. This is God's design from day one, from day 6, right? This is God's design that there be man and woman and that they would team up with one another to do the things that God has set out to do in the creation of the universe. Pretty big in terms of cosmic plans, overarching plans. God created the universe to put himself on display. And the way he does that is through his image bearers, man and woman. So he says, get married. So next verse, please. God blessed them, man and woman. This is the next verse. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on earth. So God tells man and woman to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. In other words, get together, have babies, and rule the earth for God. That's the first 6 days of creation. This is how the world is populated. This is how the world is ruled. And then, when we get to the New Testament, there's another important piece that's added to this equation. So if you could take me to the next verse, in Ephesians chapter 5, it says this: Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. So husbands, you need to love your wives, love your wives, like Christ loved the church. You need to love your wives like Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. He sacrificed himself for her. And what Paul goes on to say here is that this marriage, this picture of marriage, you're supposed to act like Jesus in it. And actually, this relationship also reflects Jesus, because it says, this mystery is profound, and I'm saying that it refers to Christ and the church. So, the marriage institution that God created in the Garden of Eden was designed to reflect his image and glory to the universe, be the institution through which the world is ruled and filled, and that very institution represents something that happens thousands of years later. Jesus Christ comes to planet Earth, God-man, lives and dies, resurrects from the dead, ascends to heaven as your substitute. And what Paul says here in Ephesians 5 is that your marriage relationship and my marriage relationship and every marriage relationship reflects Christ and the church. Your marriage, this relationship that God has blessed you with, is designed by God to be a billboard for the world, to show the world the way Christ loved the church. Your marriage is designed to put the gospel on display, show the world what God is doing, not only in filling the world, but in saving the world. So, back to my question. Why should you work on this? I think you should work on this because this is an important relationship. In God's eyes, and it ought to be an important relationship in your eyes. Your marriage is part of God's plan to fill the world and to glorify himself. And your marriage needs to serve as a billboard to the world of what it looks like for Christ to love the church and to lay his life down for someone else, to save someone else. So, your marriage is important then, and that's why you should work on it. It's not some extra add-on in your life. It's not okay to only get to it when you can. You need to work on this. You need to prioritize this relationship, and it's the most important one outside of your relationship with God, your personal relationship with God. So that's why I think you should work on this relationship. Take me to number 2. Question number 2. What is the end goal? So work on it. Like, what are we aiming for? What are we trying to build? I've said a good marriage, a thriving marriage. What is that? Well, I don't think it's having a perfect and sinless relationship with your spouse, always being perfect angels to each other. That'd be great. But that's not feasible because you're a sinner. And so is your spouse, and so am I, okay? So not possible. What is possible is you and your spouse are both on a trajectory of growth. You're both living a certain way, acting a certain way, so as to grow together. And one of the great things is, I think the older you get, the longer you're married, the more you can love each other, the better relationship you can have. That is what I think we're aiming for. And specifically, what I mean by that is you need to put yourself on a path of growth. You need to be busy about doing things that are putting you on a path to grow in your marriage. So I actually taught on that extensively at the marriage retreat, and I'll just give you just the highlights of what I talked about. So I talked about 3 different dimensions of habits to form in building a thriving marriage. The first dimension is the vertical dimension, and so just vertically between you and the Lord, you need to put God first. As husband and wife together, vertically, you put God first. This needs to become a regular thing for you. You submit to the Bible. You look at what this book says, and you says, we're gonna structure our relationship this way. We're going to value the things that this book says to value. We're going to live in the world the way this book says to live in the world. This is the way we're going to do it. It's not going to be well liked by people around us, but this is what we're going to do. And you're going to pray together. Husband and wife, you're going to link arms, hold hands, and vertically talk to God. Okay? Secondly, there's also a horizontal dimension. You're going to communicate to one another with empathy. You've got this communication relationship where you seek to understand each other, live with each other in an understanding way, have a long fuse before you get angry. You've got a lot of patience with your spouse. You're going to show kindness and care, active love for your spouse, and then prefer your spouse. Take me to the next one, which is the physical dimension. You're going to enjoy time together, not only spend time together, but learn to have fun with each other, be romantic, and have regular sex with each other. These are 10 habits of a thriving marriage. You don't instantly have an amazing relationship, but this puts you on the path to grow in the ways you need to grow to become the kind of spouses that you need to be, okay? So that's what I mean when I'm talking about the what. And then I have a third question. How do you get there? So how do you get there? One way is to be part of this ministry, to be here on a regular basis, because what we're doing is we're opening up the Bible, we're looking at what it says, we're trying to help each other to do that. There's something about the rhythm, the weekly rhythm of being here. It's hard to have relationships with people around the table if it's once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month. Oh, we're sick. It makes it really tough. The weekly rhythm, week in and week out, seeing the same people, talking about the same things, is a really key factor in this process. You need the support and the accountability of the people in your Thrive group too, right? To come alongside each other and help each other with this stuff. To have people who know you and you know them. You need a small group in that kind of way. And then I think you need the teaching on what the Bible says about this stuff. And we're gonna tackle that head on this year and really try to explain these various dimensions about having a good marriage. I think it's important. I think it's time well spent. And I'm excited about the upcoming year to do this together, okay? So I'm going to send you guys off for your groups. Now, you've got questions there, and talk about as many of those as you can. Next week, we'll try to give you more time for small groups. I really want to try to be done by closer to 7 so that you have a full hour for discussion. But you got 45 minutes to kind of talk today, and then your small group leaders should know where you're meeting. If you guys have problems like getting into your room or any issues, whatever, talk to me. We'll figure it out. But good to see you all this week. Welcome to Thrive. I'll see you back next week, same time, same place. All right? See you then.